Here are two fun and easy Cricut cardstock projects to try this Christmas. Starting with this Snowflake Garland, which is just white cardstock glued onto Kraft cardstock, I used this snowflake image in Cricut Design Space and added a 1/4 inch offset to create the background layer. But did you know you can also make a negative offset to create a drawn-on layer for your designs? Once you click the offset button up top, just drag the bar to the left or adjust the number value until you like the design. Then hit apply. Next, select the negative offset layer and change the operation to draw. Then just attach this draw layer to your initial layer image so it will stay in place when you press Make It. So once I had all my pieces glued together, I punched 2 holes in each snowflake and I used some macrame cord that I had on hand to create a snowflake garland that looks just like iced gingerbread cookies. And this is a super simple Christmas project that you can hang anywhere. For the second project, I used this beautiful metallic cardstock that I found at Dollar Tree. Now, I'll add the Design Space tutorial at the end of this video if you want to see the step-by-step, but all I did was take a circle from the Shapes panel, place a score line in the direct center of it, and attach the 2 layers to create a score and cut project. And then I used 2 sheets of cardstock for this circle ornament, which came out to 22 cut circles. To put these together, we start by folding each circle along that score line and giving it a nice crease. Then use any glue you like. I'm using hot glue, but you'll want to try something that is quick drying for sure. And glue the 2 halves of the circle together. Just make a straight line of glue starting from that crease and moving away from it to the outer edge of the circle. And you want to do that for all the folded pieces. Now, to create the accordion look, or some people call it honeycomb look, it doesn't really matter, we'll glue each of these folded halves to each other by placing glue above and below that initial glue line on the outside of that fold. And as you glue each piece, just make sure that glue is in the same spot. Here you can see it start to take shape. And here's how it looks with all the halves glued together. Now you can decide how to finish yours off, but I decided to add a wood bead to some velvet ribbon, and I glued the ribbon to the inside of the ornament, leaving a long tail for hanging. And I did add just a little extra glue along that fold line so that this will not separate. Here's another design I made to look like a finial ornament, and for this one I glued in 2 places on the inside of the fold, and I'll show you here, just right at those lines. And this is quick dry craft glue, which worked well for this lightweight cardstock. Then on the outside of this, I added glue along the center rounded part and along that folded edge, but I didn't realize that doing this along that folded edge would make it difficult to open at the end, so you don't need to add any glue along that edge. Now to add a little detail to this white cardstock, I used some gold wax and applied it to the edges. And this just gives it a nice touch where this is just plain white cardstock. And again, I added a velvet ribbon with a wooden bead to finish it off. And here you can see it's a little bit difficult to get those ends together because of the extra glue. But it still turned out beautifully. And here is the final look of all my accordion or honeycomb paper ornaments. Now, I did make a tree-shaped one, but I am still playing around with the glue placement on this design, which is why I didn't show the process. But stick around if you want to see that design space tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one. So here we are in Cricut Design Space, and this is the circle design. Just grab a circle from the Shapes panel, and we're going to size it to the size that we wanted in the end. And what I did is go ahead and duplicate this into as many pieces as would fit in a 12 by 12 square, which is the size of the cutting mat. But don't follow this step, do the next step first and then just duplicate it because it will be easier. So once you have your circle, you're going to grab the scoring shape from the Shapes panel, put it on top of the circle, and then select both and align it in the center, align it vertically. Then we're going to attach it onto the circle. So select again and hit attach down in the bottom right, and you'll have that circle with the score line, which you can just duplicate at this point. I did it backwards. I duplicated all the circles and then added my score lines, but if you do it the other way, it will be easier for you. So for the finial design, I used a couple of the stretched oval shapes, the teardrop shape, and a square. I adjusted everything and lined it all up until I liked how it looked. And once that's all together, I just weld it to the final shape, which you can size from here. And as you can see, I went back a few times to change things up. Then once you have your final shape, go ahead and grab that score line once again, add it to the center, attach the two, and duplicate this as many times as you need to, as will fit on your mat according to the size that you have it. And I'll leave all the details in the description for how many pieces I cut for each design. Go ahead and leave a comment if you will try these for yourself.